Is it a blip or is it a catastrophe? Obviously the world is full of distractions, the type of world we live in. And you'll hear, I think there's a whole book called Leading Through Chaos. I think that might actually be Bobby Jindal's book, one of them. And crisis, Leading Through Crisis, not chaos. But distraction can go from something as simple as you're neck deep into your task that you're on at the particular time and you get a text, phone call, email, whatever. That just kind of throws you right off of what you were doing. Something as simple and ordinary as that, all the way to a crisis, catastrophic event, things that just fall out of the sky. And in spiritual direction, last week I was telling the preacher, I'm one that at those minor annoyances, I'll blow a gasket. That's just, just throws me off of what I'm doing. Whereas with something major, crisis kind of thing, I kind of log down and get into what's called the zone, and I'm going to elaborate on that in a minute. But in thinking of that, and I'm going to mention President Trump before he was actually president, but some of his resources I've used written before he was president. He has as one of his tenets that he brings up often when we are faced with one of these things: is it a blip or is it a catastrophe? Is it a blip or is it a catastrophe? And if we take the long view, okay, what's the worst that could happen here? It should affect and influence how we handle that particular issue. But some examples, I remember when my dad died, and a friend of mine had heard about it in that particular day, and he calls me, and we had a discussion, and then months later, he said, I remember talking to you that day, and it was like you were just all business. You were just all calm, cool, collected, and focused in on the moment. We're about to South Louisiana. It's May yet? Is it May? Yes, May. We're about to embark upon hurricane season. How do we, we've been through a lot of those, and I've been through a lot of them as a leader of a family responsible keeping people safe, and that's one of those situations. You get locked in, you got to make a lot of decisions. You don't have a whole lot of information to deal with, and you have to be calm, cool, and collected. Y'all have heard me talk a lot about Jim Fannin. He calls that being in the zone. And if you've ever been in a car, who's been in a car accident in here? If you've ever been in a car accident, you probably have noticed that everything immediately went into slow motion. And you can specifically recount every little thing that happened in that situation. That is a divinely gifted trait that we possess, that humans possess. To be able to, whenever we go into a crisis moment, to be able to, and what he does is he's pinned down that science and then tries to recreate it for people. And that's why you'll hear athletes talk about slowing the game down. If it's moving extremely fast, and you have to be able to slow it down so that you can really appreciate what's going on to be able to act properly. But it's a a divinely inspired trait we possess to be able to handle these crisis situations.